Well, welcome everybody. Nice to see familiar faces and have some new guests. I'm Kathleen Turner. I'm one of our health sciences librarians team, and I want to welcome my colleagues Janice and Sarah, who are the other members of that team for the libraries. Um, all right. Let me shoo away the cat who wants to come up as soon as I start talking to people. And I'm going to share my screen to you and we'll get started. All right, now crossing my fingers that you guys are all seeing the right screen. Okay, thank you, Janice. The topic for today's Wednesday webinar is navigating journals through the Drexel University Libraries. Now, if you're as old as I am, you remember when navigating journals basically meant looking things up in printed indexes, usually writing things down on little index cards, and then going off to hunt in the dusty stacks for the article that you need. But as we moved, really starting more than 20 years ago, into the electronic world, things got considerably more complicated. So with apologies to Avril Lavigne, I want to start off just by talking about some of the reasons that it can be a little bit more complicated to get to articles in eJournals. First of all, because electronic journals come in a number of different ways. We have some that are standalone subscriptions. Often those are journals from academic or professional societies. We have a lot that are in large publisher packages or platforms. Elsevier journals, which actually can be on either Science Direct or in Clinical Key, just to make it more complicated. Taylor and Francis, Springer, lots of other publishers have their own platforms. We also have large numbers of journals that are contained in aggregated collections, such as journals at Ovid, ProQuest journal collections, EBSCO journal collections, and so on. And these can often be tricky because they frequently have what are called embargo periods. In other words, the most recent year, or sometimes more than that, is not included. This is unfortunately something publishers do to encourage people to subscribe directly, which is often a more costly option. And of course, any of these might be either subscription only or open access journals, or hybrid journals where it might differ from one article to the next, of whether it's only available to subscribers or is open access available to all. And of course, for journals that are available through subscriptions or licensing, the journal platforms need verification that you're part of the Drexel University community. Currently, we use a proxy system that requires you to access journal sites through the Drexel Libraries website, signing in with your Drexel Connect credentials, the email ID and password that you use to sign into everything else. Watch out, though, that there's going to be an announcement before too long about a new single sign-in option using Shibboleth that will allow you to go directly to some journal websites and sign in there rather than going through the university library website. Unfortunately, not all publishers or journal platform producers will allow use of the Shibboleth sign-in, but for some, it is going to make things a little bit easier. So what we're going to be talking about today is basically what the different options are for getting to a journal article from Drexel Libraries subscribed databases, from Google Scholar, because yes, we know people like to use Google Scholar. When I have a random citation and I need to know how to get to it, what to do when we don't have access to the article I need, and an option that's available when you actually want to browse the latest issues of your favorite journals. So, and by the way, if you have questions, please feel free to speak out. We've got a small group, and I'd certainly like to be open to your questions. So let's start with how to get from this Janet Fleetwood's article on ethical considerations for mandating food worker vaccinations to the actual PDF of the article. Well, in PubMed and nearly all of our licensed databases, you'll see a little logo with our Drexel Dragon that says get it free at Drexel. That's your linking into Drexel's subscribed journal platforms. And please note here, because PubMed, unlike all of the other databases that we actually license or pay for, PubMed is actually free to anyone, but you need to connect by way of the Drexel Libraries website to turn on this get it linking. Now, there are some databases that might not actually show our cute little dragon icon, but they'll have a link that says something like find full text at Drexel. Now, you can actually even set that up in Google Scholar. This is the settings menu in Google Scholar, which you can find by going to the little hamburger menu up by the Google Scholar logo, and then look for library links. Type Drexel in the search bar. These are the options you'll see. You just check them off. And as it says, you save the options, and then it uses cookies to hold this for you. And what it does is when you do a Google Scholar search, next to articles that we may have available, you'll see a Get It at Drexel option. Now, what if rather than starting in a database or Google Scholar, you've got a citation to an article? This may be one that you found in the reference list of another article. It may be one that a colleague or an instructor has given you. So how do you get from that citation into our licensed copy of that article? One of the easiest ways to do that is go to the Dragon search box on the library homepage, copy and paste in part of the title. You don't have to do all of it. Just try to get enough that it's significant. And it's going to take you to a record for that journal article in our Dragon search system and tell you whether it's available to you online or not. And if it is, then it will show you options for accessing it. Now, for some journal articles, you may only see one option. For some, like this one, you might see two. For some, you might actually see 5 or 6 options. How do you decide between them? First thing is to check the dates carefully. As you notice from this, the Wiley option goes back to 1997. Wiley is an example of a publisher platform. You would be getting access to this article directly from the publisher. The EBSCO option is one of those aggregated collections that I mentioned. And you'll notice that with this one, it covers only starting in the year 2000. And the most recent year is not available. That's an example of those embargoes that I was talking about. Usually, the option that goes directly from the publisher is going to be your best choice if that's available. Now, a little bit about troubleshooting. If you've searched for an article and it either doesn't find it in our system or tells you it's not available and you think it should be, the best way to do a little bit of troubleshooting is go to the journal title search in Dragon Search. You can get to that either from the home page, it's one of the tabbed options across the top, or from the advanced search page, and search for the actual journal title. Then click through to get to the journal website, and usually there's an option there to either search for the specific article that you're looking for, or to browse through by volume and issue. Very often, if you're looking for something that's extremely recent, or might even be one of those available online before print articles, the linking just doesn't work quite yet. The metadata isn't there. So searching for the journal title is often a good way to get to what you need then. You can also, going back to the library homepage, look for the search by DOI or PMID option right under the big search box on the library homepage. DOI, which stands for Digital Object Identifier, you can almost think is like a social security number for a specific journal article. If your citation includes a number that looks like this, back up one, you can use that to search for the article, or again, if you have a PubMed identification number, you can search that way. And that will get you to a result that looks like this, where sometimes you will be passed through to see different options for getting to the article. Other times you'll see options like this, where you can download the PDF directly or get a link to the website where the article is available. Now, LibKey actually is a system that gives you other options as well. In addition to providing that search mechanism from the library homepage, LibKey Nomad is a browser extension that you can download and install on your own computer. There's versions of it for Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Safari, and a couple of browsers that honestly I've never even heard of. What that extension does is provide links through the library's journal subscriptions to articles that you might find in random places on the web. It will also get you to open access sources. So a couple of quick pictures of how LibKey works. This is from the reference list of a Wikipedia article. And as I always tell students, you don't want to use Wikipedia as your source when you're doing research, but the references from Wikipedia articles are often useful. And this icon down at the bottom, download PDF, is the LibKey link that the browser extension provides. So this is going to take you from Wikipedia to the library's licensed copy of Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences to access this article. And here's another example of it in a citation in PubMed, where it's giving you the option both to download the PDF and to view the complete issue of the Journal of the American College of Nutrition that contains this particular article. So, if we don't have direct access to the article, and to paraphrase another pop music reference, you pretty much can always get what you want. If you are searching in Dragon Search, or if you have used a get it link from a database, you might get a message that, or you might get to an article record where there are no direct options available for accessing that article. When that happens, instead, you're going to see this yellow bar with a sign-in option. And when you sign in, what you're going to see is the option to request the article through interlibrary loan. This takes you into our phenomenal ILL service, usually with all of the article information already filled in. Now, if you don't happen to be using Dragon Search to find a citation, you can also access the interlibrary loan system, called Iliad, by the way, directly from the library homepage. Just use the borrow from other libraries option and look for the Iliad login link. A couple of quick things about interlibrary loan. There is no cost to you for using it. You'll get a link to the article to your email, usually within 2 to 3 business days, but they are often even faster than that. I have frequently received an article the same day that I've requested it. As I say there, I really don't know how they managed to do it this fast. You can also, if you need to check the status of any of your requests, use this borrow from other libraries link. Again, log into Iliad, and it will show you all of your outstanding requests and what the status is. And yes, I particularly tell this to students: never pay for something that we can get for you. If you're on a journal website and they're asking you to give them your credit card and info and pay $35 or $45 for an article, use our interlibrary loan service instead. And finally, probably the one thing that people miss as we've gone to the e-journal world is the ability to pick up a copy of your favorite journal and browse through the table of contents, browse through the recently published journals, see what the latest and the hottest is. We've got an app for that. Browzine, which you can find, there is a web version and an app for mobile devices, essentially lets you create your own personalized bookshelves of the journals that you're interested in keeping up with on a regular basis. Again, these are using Drexel Library subscriptions to provide access to them. And as the red numbers here tell you, it will alert you when there's new articles or new issues. You can browse the table of contents of journals this way. You can download articles onto your device, either to read online or to save to read them offline later. And you can find Browzine for the web version in our databases A to Z list on the library homepage, or you can search for it and download it from your app store. It's very easy to set up. You just have to tell it what library you're associated with, plug in your usual access credentials, and you're ready to go. And remember, if you get stuck, if you're trying to find an article and you can't, you think something should work and it doesn't, we are always happy to help. That's what we're here for. Does anyone have questions? You can type them into the chat. You can yell. Janice.
I'll just yell. So just a reminder with Browzine for journals that we don't subscribe to, we can still have them in the table of contents, but as far as getting the full text, what is that process like?
Yeah, I think if you're using Browzine on the web,
okay,
it can channel you through our journal subscriptions.
Okay.
If you're using it on your app, it's probably best to go to our website and use the options that I've shown to search by DOI or by title.
Okay. I don't use it enough to remember how that works.
Right.
But I know there's a way that you can get to those things. And I always feel like we need a flow chart of what you just went over, because it is complicated sometimes.
Yes. Again, with apologies to Avril Lavigne, it is so complicated. But part of that, to be quite honest, is because we have so much available.
True. Thanks.
Any additional questions?
Sure, I might have one regarding the get it button on various articles. So just so I'm clear, like when you click on the get it button, do you expect to always go to Dragon Search? Should that link always take you to the Dragon Search full record? And then you showed us the Dragon Source full record, and there we have view it online and one or more links to the full article.
It will do a couple of things. Sometimes if we only have one option for getting to that article, sometimes it might take you there directly.
Okay.
If we have multiple options, it will take you to Dragon Search. If we don't have a subscription to the article or to the journal that contains the article, it will take you to Dragon Search, and you'll see that sign-in option so that you can request it. Does that sound right, Janice? Okay, Janice is nodding. Thank you.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right, thank you.
Sure. Right, any other questions? Well, if not, I thank you all for coming. We will be putting a recording of this video on our YouTube channel with all of our other Wednesday webinars. And we hope you will go back to them if you need a refresher. And as always, please come to us if you have any questions. Thank you.